All right, Brian. So today on Things That Matter with Brian Batter, we have been talking a little bit in our videos. I know it's going to make you laugh every time. It's never going to get old. It's never going to get old. I love it. So we've been talking a lot about this idea or concept of time. Could you walk us
Yeah.
through a rule of 72?
Sure, absolutely. Well, the rule of 72 is a very simple mathematical formula. We're going to walk through it here on the screen that shows you the compound effect of interest. And all that means is money growing on top of money. And easy to visual for those of you guys who are visual thinkers, visual learners. If you think about Hawaii, they're volcanic islands. At one point, they weren't there. They didn't exist. They were literally the seafloor. But a volcano erupted. Lava came out. It cooled and hardened. And then another eruption happened, and the lava came out, and it cooled and hardened on top of the original eruption, and it continued to build on that. That's compounding. Same idea. The opposite of compounding is something called simple interest, and that just means where you have a volcano erupt, and then next to it, another volcano erupts, and it doesn't build on top of itself. It just keeps on adding alongside of it. It doesn't grow as fast as compounding. So the rule of 72 is a formula that approximately shows you how long it takes money to double. And the compounding effect of interest is something that is widely considered to be one of the most powerful concepts in mathematics. Now, the thing about interest is that it can work for you or it can work against you. It'll work against you if you borrow, it'll work for you if you save. The formula is very easy to understand. You take the number 72 and you divide it by the rate of interest. And what comes out is the approximate number of years it's going to take that account, whether it's debt or savings, the approximate number of years it'll take to double. Now, I say approximate because if I earn 100% return on my money, that means I double in 1 year, right? So we say it's an approximation because it's important that we understand that over time, interest really will add up against or for us. So here's an example I like to use to show people the effect of this. You've got an individual who is given $10,000. They're 29 years old. Whether they sold the G.I. Joe with a Kung Fu grip on eBay or they got it from their grandmother, they sold their Pokemon collection or whatever it was they did, they got 10 grand and now they have a choice. Their thought is they're going to go to the bank on the one hand because they're very risk averse. They don't like to lose money. And the bank says to them, hey, we'll pay you 1% on your checking or your savings account, right? Okay, never going to lose anything. It's going to sit there. We're not going to talk about inflation. They're definitely losing to that. But for this purpose, we're talking about how long it's going to take that account to double. So 10,000 goes into the account earning 1%, 72 divided by 1 means 72. It would take that account roughly 72 years to double. That 29-year-old is going to be 101 years old when they have finally gotten 20,000 bucks. Now, on the other side of this equation, you see someone who says, well, you know, I got this 10,000 bucks. I'm not going to touch it. I've got my emergency fund in place. I got my debt under control. I don't need to use this. I just want to leave it aside for the long term. And they want to be a little bit more aggressive. They're willing to take on a little bit more risk because they want a bigger reward. They want more earnings, a higher reward. So let's just say they're able to track a 10% rate of return over this same time frame. Well, 72 divided by 10 is 7.2. That means that money doubles every 7.2 years. So by the time the person's 36, they've gotten that 20,000 bucks, right? But we see the compounding really happen. That 20 doubles to 40, 40 to 80, 80 to 160, 160 to 320 by the time they're 65. They wait 7 more years until they're 72. Let's say it's their 401k, their IRA. Now they have to start taking required minimum distributions. They wait until 72. That $10,000 that they never added anything to grew to be 640,000 bucks through the magic of compounding. And so interest is the best employee a person can have. It doesn't sleep. The question is interest working for you because you're saving and investing for the long term? Or is it working against you because you're borrowing money, you carry balances, and you're getting charged high rates? Choice is yours.
Yeah. Even just looking at this too, like thinking about the average credit cards are anywhere from 18 to I've seen as high as 30% interest. So you're
Right.
looking at every couple of years that $10,000 balance doubling just with the assumption that you're not putting any more debt onto that
Right, they
card.
make no payments too. Yeah, no more debt, and then they
Yeah.
make no payments, and you continue to double. That's why people don't get ahead. It's
Yep.
just it's look, 18-year-old kids, that's the first thing they get, credit card applications, right? After they filled out their student loan, the FAFSA forms, right? Don't get me started on that. This is something that needs to be taught to the youngest kids. I've taught this to my kids, right? They're tired of me talking about stuff like this, but that's okay. They'll thank me later.
They will for sure. Thank you, Brian. Rule of
You got it.
72 on things that matter with Brian Batter.